What's up, YouTube? I figure I'd give a little introduction video. My name's Chris, aka Cdub. Um, live out here in the wonderful Pacific Northwest, Tacoma, Washington. Um, see the glasses right off the bat? You can probably tell the right eye looks kind of closed. Just want to let you guys know I'm pretty much 75% blind at this moment. So, like, my passions were cars, fast cars, motorcycles. Used to be part of a couple clubs, getting out, being wild, doing wheelies, stuff like that. That was my thing, back in the day. Like, it was street racing for me. So, you get older, you have a family, that kind of slows down a little bit. Minus the club part, I stayed in that for a while, after I had a family and stuff. So, I just pretty much want to give a little introduction about, you know, kind of what's going on with this, so you guys can understand the nature of what some of these posts will be about when I start posting a little bit more. A lot of them will probably be unscripted, like this, instead of all catered and edited, unless I do a cool video later on. But anyway, so just off the bat, 2017, I started noticing blurred vision, so I went to an eye doctor to be seen, and they sent me right to a specialist, and they said that pretty much you're going to be blind soon. And I was just like, what? Like, it was just really hard to comprehend, and I'm like, well, what's the course of action? Like, well, we feel like if we start this process now, it'll stop everything, or it'll slow down everything. I'm like, all right. And they're like, but there's a chance we can speed it up. And I'm like, if it speeds it up, I don't want to do it. And they're like, we think that this is the best course. And I'm like, man, thought about it for a while, and I was like, okay, I guess we'll do it. So I got my first set of eye injections April 2017. By the first week of May 2017, I got my first bleed in my right. And mind you, I walked in this place still seeing 20/20 with no issues, except blurred vision every once in a while. And I'm diabetic, by the way. So I walked into that place seeing just fine, got my first bleed from my first eye injection. So I played sports pretty much my whole life, played like a lot of soccer and, kickball. Love that kickball, super fun. And they said that from running so much and all the jarring from running, heading the ball and stuff like that, like, I got a bleed. So they said, don't play soccer anymore, just go to the gym or something like that. So I was like, all right. Just still bleeding. So pretty much by June, by the way, I'm just kind of moving this along, I'm not going into full detail. By June 2017, I'd have my first surgery. So it's called a vitrectomy. So there was a lot of scar tissue and there was bleeding. So they went in, they had to laser scar tissue, and then they sucked some blood out and stuff like that. And then put silicone oil in to hold the retina in place, because I guess my retinas were damaged so much. Didn't know what to expect. Day after the surgery, went to the doctor, had them peel off the bandage. Bam. Everything was fine. I could see. They're like, it's going to be a little blurry because you have oil in there. And I'm like, okay. But I was like, you know what? It didn't even bug me. I was like, all right, able to see, still rode motorcycles. That was my thing. My commute to work was about 35 miles. So, I had to stay home for 2 weeks. And then they're like, all right, you're fine to go. And I had to wait another week after that before you start riding again. So, I did. And then, you know what? Like, everything's fine. I'm normal, this and that, riding, going to work, still doing my thing, still able to see at night. All that stuff's great. By September 2017, they were like, we have to do another one, because we're doing essentially an oil change, taking out the oil, putting new oil in, and we have to laser some more stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool. So they did that, same thing. I'm like, all right, cool. No big deal. Took out the bandage, could see, everything like that. And then the weird thing was, I noticed that I started losing a little bit of periphery on this side, which is nothing compared to where it is now. But I was like, what? But, I could still look in the mirror and still see behind me. But I had to kind of look a little more to see, like, right next to me, which was no big deal to me. I could adjust. So it was all good. Go through the year. I'm like, I might as well, at the new year, did my resolution, like, hey, I'm just going to stop drinking, stop going to the bars and clubs so much, and like slow down on the club life a little bit, and start exercising regularly, and started doing that like the first week of January. And then I go in and see the doctor, like, all right, well, your right eye looks stable, we're going to pull the oil out, and you're developing a cataract, so we're going to change your lens. So I ended up having that surgery, and that we got to keep an eye on your left because your left's looking kind of bad. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, um, all good after the surgery. They didn't really tell me no weight restrictions or nothing like that. And so ended up like going back and seeing them a week later after that. Like, you know what, your left's so bad, we have to do it like immediately. So I did my left, and did my left eye on January 24th. So that was my fourth surgery. And after that, I just never made it back to work. Um, so that was January 24th. Like 2 weeks later, still no progress. I'm like, hey, why is my right eye kind of bleeding? They're like, hey, well, it looks like you have a hyphema, which is blood in the actual color part of your eye. So they ended up having to do a wash and wash that out. And then they're like, the lens is scarring to the iris, so they had to pull the lens off. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, well, you'll be able to see, but you'll only be able to see shapes and stuff. And I'm like, wow, okay. What does this do for work? They're like, well, we'll worry about that later. I'm like, okay. And then the left eye, I started noticing the vision was getting worse. I'm like, what's going on with this? They're like, well, it looks like you're detaching, and detaching under oil is like, it never really happens. I'm like, well, what's the deal? Like, why do I feel like I don't see as much as I did out of this eye after? They're like, well, you had a lot of scar tissue in there, so we ended up having to laser a lot. And when we peeled the scar tissue, we peeled a lot of retina with it. I'm like, so what do you mean? They're like, well, you don't have very much retina left. I'm like, are you serious? So what's the plan? What's the course of action? And they're like, well, we'll keep an eye on it, this and that. I go back a couple weeks later, and then I was like, well, hey, what's the deal? I feel like my vision's gotten way worse. Like, what's the course of action? What do we do? And they were like, honestly, it's not good. It's not a good situation at all. We feel like we've done all we can do. I was like, what? You feel like you've done all you can do? I walked into this place less than a year ago seeing just fine, and you're telling me this is all you could do. It was very hard time for me. I won't go into details about that stuff yet, but it was really, really hard, dark times. So, ended up looking at several other doctors to see what they could do. 5 of them said no. Ended up finding one that I talked to, and that's my regular doctor now for my eye stuff. And he was like, hey, I can do what you need to get done, but I want you to be aware of the risks. I wanted them to do this eye because this eye had became detached. I'm like, hey, put a lens back on it and reattach it, and I should be fine. And he's like, I just want you to be aware of the risk for it. So, you have pretty decent sight there. You might want to look at, some other options for sight there. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. So I thought about it. I'm like, this eye is detached. It's doing bad, and I don't have very much vision out of it anyways. Might as well just try to do this one. He's like, that's a good idea. So that's kind of where we were, and that's kind of where I'm at the doctor I have now. So short of it now is that I'm on surgery number 12. I've had it all: lasers, laser treatments, cornea transplant, vitrectomies, washouts, like cataract surgeries. Kind of been there through all of it. So just kind of want to give you guys a background on where it's been. So 12 surgeries since 2017 until current. My last current surgery was a cornea transplant, full one for this eye, from New Year's Eve. Actually, I spent my New Year's Eve doing a cornea transplant in the hospital. So just kind of want to give you a background about that. So yeah, that's kind of where it is now. So I just kind of wanted to raise awareness about eye stuff, but also wanted to raise awareness about don't let what you have as a disability hold you back from anything. Okay? So like I said, that was just an introduction about who I am, because this might not seem like a lot to a lot of people at all. Okay? But I'm into cars. I love cars, and my cars have always been Japanese import cars. I've always loved it. Integra Civics. Never had a Prelude in my life, but wouldn't mind having one day. I've had tons of Integras, tons of Civics, few Accords, CRXs, CRVs, had it all. I just love them. Like, it's just so fun, the fact that you could take a little 4-cylinder car and just smoke, like a $50,000 V8 Corvette. That's just the joy in it for me. Street racing back in the day was my thing. Once all this started happening, I went from sport bikes, transitioned like pretty much a lot of people from sport bikes to Harleys. So I started liking doing long distance trips. Unfortunately, last year, I had to sell that. So it kind of sucked. But you know what? One day again, I believe when they figure out stuff, I'll write again. But for now, I'm actually doing a Project Integra. Um, for anyone that knows about Hondas or knows anything for the most part, it's going to be pretty much an ITR clone, but with a twist. I'm not going to tell you guys all too much just yet. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that don't give up. Like, keep an eye on this blind guy, because just watch. One day you're going to see a blind dude drive. I know there's a couple blind drag racers that are out there and stuff like that, but what I got going is going to be a little crazy. So just kind of want to give you guys a heads up on that. So this is an intro video to let you know kind of who I am and what my plans are. Probably do another couple of videos, you know, like a few days or something like that, you know, me at the gym, because, you know, I can't see how I look, but you know what? I want to feel how I look. So it's like I'm trying to get a Braille body. You know what I'm saying? So just want to give an intro. And hey, if you follow me, that'd be great. If not, it's all good. I'm just trying to get out there and kind of let my story be told and let people know to always be inspired, because you don't give up on what you want. And so, you know, this project for me is going to be pretty amazing when I got a couple people that are helping with it. So hope you guys enjoy it. Next video, I'll probably give a little bit of, you know, give you a little sneak peek at what I'm kind of working on.